Hello, everyone, and welcome to pCloudy's webinar on building a unified testing ecosystem in a fragmented testing world. My name is Dinakar, like I mentioned earlier, and I'll be the host for today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. Your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar using the Q&A option available. We will answer your questions at the end of the webinar in the Q&A section. And do note that we're recording the webinar and we will send out the link to share with your colleagues later. With that said, let me introduce the speaker for today, Avinash Tiwari. He needs no introduction. He is a renowned thought leader, a recognized keynote speaker, and the co-founder of pCloudy. He has 20 plus years of experience in product development and testing. He brings with him a passion for emerging technologies and quick adoption, both of which have solidified his reputation as a leader in the app testing space. Without further ado, let me hand it to our speaker, Avinash Tiwari.
Hey, thanks, Dinakar, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. A very warm welcome from my side. Good to have you all. Very excited to be talking about this topic. So as famously said, Rome was not built in a day. And we know that Rome was unification of many countries, which happened over a period of time. In a way, same is true for the testing tech as well. Testing tech over last decade or so has gone through many transformations and unifications. And here we are looking at one more such transformational change. And I'm really excited to share my views and hear your thoughts on this. Hope we can make it interactive. So share as many questions as you can. We'll try to answer many of those. If not, we will try to answer later one-on-one as well. First thing first, a quick intro of who we are. Some of you might be knowing us already. Some of you might be new to this platform. So pCloudy is one of the most diverse test cloud for your mobile and web applications. And over the last 7 years, large to small enterprises all over the world have used over more than 100 million minutes of testing with us. So that speaks volume of how the platform has scaled and how many customers we have served over this last 7-year periods. And I would really encourage you, if you have not tried, we have a free trial. You can go ahead and try the platform by yourself. And if there is any support needed in the journey, our team will be available to you. Having said that, let's delve right into the key agendas for today's session. So we are living in a world where every business is looking at a differentiated customer experience, which has become the key to success for any business or enterprise. And that is leading to a very complex user journeys and in turn, the complex app ecosystem. So we will first look at what are the trends that we are seeing as far as the transformation of app ecosystem is concerned. And with that change, there are a few more very relevant changes that we are seeing in the market. So we'll touch upon those as well. And these two are testing tool fragmentation and test observability. And at the end, I hope we'll be able to put together a clear picture for you and talk about the need for a unified testing ecosystem. So let's begin. And we as I mentioned, we'll first talk about the three driving needs of a unified system. And a word of caution here, the concepts that are listed here, the three concepts that I'll be talking about, might seem disjointed and separate by themselves, but please stay with me as we unpack and try to find some coherence when we bring them together. And how like I said, I hope at the end there'll be a clear picture for you in terms of what is the new trend in terms of unified testing that we're talking about. So from these three drivers of a unified system, let's talk about the first, which is the primary driver that we are seeing in the market, is the new app ecosystem. And in that context, it'll be very nice to begin with a illustration of a customer journey, right? And here in that reference or in that sense, I want to illustrate a customer journey of a leading bank, which has integrated various channels but uses the mobile app as the primary orchestration across the digital and human interactions. And this way, they are able to provide a very differentiated customer experience to their users or to their customers. So for the sake of discussion, let's call the customer name as John. And we'll talk about the John's journey as he interacts with the various ecosystem within the banking, retail banking world. So the John is, in this journey, John is casually browsing the banking app on his mobile. And then he gets an chatbot alert that you are eligible for a lower interest rate on a home loan. And this is the scenario we all have seen, getting those alerts or pop-ups on the apps that you have a pre-approved loan or you have a lower interest loan. So John decided to reply, and he says that, tell me more. And based on his query, he gets a response from the chatbot with a link to a loan calculator, which helps him understand the offer. And then John forgets it. Not long after, John zeroes down on a home and wants to finalize the loan before he seals the deal for the home. And he remembers the offer and goes back to the app. And there he has an option to scan the code of the real estate that he's planning to buy. And based on that, he gets the loan options, which are personalized offer for him. And from those offers, he selects one of the options. Then he has an option to either do a video-based interaction with the advisor, or does a full online submission on his own, or he has an option to go and talk to the advisor in the branch itself in person. So John chooses to meet the advisor in person, and he's able to book a slot from the app itself using the calendar. On the designated date, he reaches the bank and meets his advisor. His advisor has already gone through the details because the backend system already has captured that information. So after discussion and submission of the relevant document, John finalizes the loan and he e-signs the application. And this is happening in the branch itself, and the application front end is mostly the advisor's front end. It could be web application, it could be a desktop application. And then John comes back. Next day, he gets approval alert through the app itself. And soon after, he gets the discount offers on home insurance plans and home relocation services, etc. Now, we saw this journey where the customer, who is John in this case, has been able to seamlessly move from one channel, which is the mobile app, to the physical bank, come back to the app itself. And the bank has been able to create a very smooth, seamless experience for him throughout this journey, and also able to provide so many different options, which could be an upsell, which could be additional area of revenue generation for the bank. So it's a win-win for both the parties, the customer and the bank itself. So this whole smooth and swift journey that we saw exemplifies the new app ecosystem or the new model in the banking space, because we are talking about the banking example here, right? And here, I mean, the unique aspect is the bank has positioned mobile as the orchestrator of the customer journey. And this orchestration is allowing the customer to move from digital to human experience seamlessly. Right? And why I'm saying mobile app is the orchestrator here will become clear in the next few minutes as we go through the next slides. But that's the key part of the new integrated ecosystem that we are seeing. So moving on to the next slide about the integrated app model itself. And to understand that, I think it'll be prudent to go through the evolution of this whole model itself. And this evolution hasn't happened in a sudden. It has evolved over a period of time. So here is a glimpse of the evolution in the banking application ecosystem. So we all know it started with a mono-channel kind of system where everything was served through the branch itself. Some of you who are old enough would have experienced this. Some of you who are millennials might not be able to relate to it. But at some point of time in the past, we had to go to branch for any banking transaction that we needed. So that was the mono channel. Then came the multiple channel approach, which the banks adopted. So banks created multiple channels, I mean, the branch interface, the kiosk interface, etc. But then that was to serve different customer segment. And one customer segment still could access only one channel. So this still was not giving a very seamless experience to customers, but this still was better than the mono channel. Then came the multi-channel approach, where banks started giving a range of channels and interaction modes to each customer segment. And this is what I think is prevalent in today's time also in many cases, where we could access the banking channel through web, through mobile, through bank interface, through customer call, representative, etc. But the problem that in this model is you might have to explain everything to the person if you're accessing a new channel. And we all have experienced this. We go to branch, you'll have to explain the same thing again, whatever you have done or whatever you have spoken to the customer rep. So this whole integration of data is still not there in this multi-channel approach. Then the real evolved channel came into play, which we call it omni-channel. And I think this is a term used very frequently in the app world or also in the testing world, omni-channel testing. So here what happened was, as you can see the diagram, all the systems got connected and started talking to each other. So this solved the earlier problem where you don't have to explain everything if you are accessing a new channel. So if you start from mobile, if you move to web, your conversation or your state is maintained and you can seamlessly move from different channels here. So this has been evolution, but what we are talking about is the new channel, which is the integrated ecosystem. And you'll have to see the diagram slightly more carefully here. You can see that the mobile app is the center of it. The blue circle is the mobile app, mobile channel is in the center of it. And the customer generally starts the customer journey from the mobile app and then moves to any other channel. But the difference from the previous approach here is the customer here can kind of choose any permutation and combination of journey. So customer can start from mobile and seamlessly move to the other channel, which could be a branch or a customer rep. From customer rep directly coming back again to a web channel to mobile. So there are permutation and combinations available here, and all the permutation combination will maintain the state of the customer, right? So orchestration here means that you are able to move from one to other seamlessly without any disruption, like we saw in the case of John, right? From mobile to branch, coming back again to the mobile app, all was happening in a seamless way. So mobile app becomes here the orchestrator of the customer journey. That's the real difference. And this, like I said, it's not available with all the banks, but not a lot of modern banks have started adopting this channel. And we'll see more and more adoption of this approach as we see the progress across different banks as well. And this is not only true in the case of banks, and it has started happening in other areas as well. And one example is from the retail, and there can't be a better example than IKEA. And if you have been to IKEA store, this is, I mean, you will see the best representation of any integrated apps ecosystem. So you go to store, you keep looking at options. Before you reach to the final counter where you need the billing, there are kiosks. Whatever items that you have noted, you can just do a checkout from those kiosks, and you can go to the counter and pay it. There are certain items you want to carry yourself. There are certain items you want to deliver. You go to the counter, ask for delivery of those certain items. You get a payment link immediately on the web. You make the payment. You start tracking the status. It's all happening so smoothly without any disruption to the customer. And they're able to maintain all the channels seamlessly. There are certain items which are out of store. You can still explore that and put the order. You can order it beforehand, go and pick up at the store. So it's the customer who is the orchestrator of the customer journey. In previous cases, it was other way. You were forced to start from a particular channel and move to the next. Here you can see the permutation and combination, the orange and the blue lines. You can start from anywhere and go to any other channel. That's in true sense the integrated approach of app ecosystem that we are talking about. And this is creating very complex customer journeys, right? Now, to summarize what we just talked about, what is this new integrated channel model? So mobile apps are no more a channel, but a primary interface, like I've been saying, the orchestrator of the customer journey, where we are able to move between human and physical touch points without any disruption. And then all the other backend integrations are used to personalize the customer journey furthermore. And that's creating much more complex customer journey that we are generally used to. So this brings us to the second concept around the testing of such complex journeys, right? We understand, right? We all have been experiencing this journey, but then what's happening in the testing world? I'm sure now you can start relating to what I'm going to say, but let's just take a very simplified app side view of the customer journey that we just talked about, which was for the banking application. So again, extra simplified view, the actual ecosystem is much more complicated, but this itself will give you a sense of what I'm trying to point to. So on the left side in the purple color boxes are the front-end interfaces, which either the customer or the advisor or the rep in the bank is accessing. So customer is accessing a mobile app, the advisor is accessing a front-end web application in the branch, right? And on the back end, there are some chatbot APIs, which are again integrated through certain backend CRM systems. There are certain recommendation systems for those handling those discount offer for insurance policies and all. And then at the core of it are the backend core banking applications, document management systems, and all the systems are talking to each other. Right? Now, look at the different platforms which are involved here. So you have a web interface, we have a mobile interface, document management system could be a desktop application, you have APIs, you have backend ERPs, CRM, you name a kind of application, it's involved in this customer journey, right? And each platform could be of different technologies as well, needless to say. So having said that, let's just move to the next part of it, where I'm trying to emphasize on the testing complexity. And like you see the blue lines, green and orange lines, that we have tried to depict the testing journeys. So there'll be some component-based testing. So mobile app can be tested independently. The front-end web app testing can be tested independently. The APIs can be tested independently. But that's not enough, right? I mean, as we saw the customer journey, and each of the customer journey in the banking space will follow the same complexity, move from different platforms so seamlessly. So during testing also, we have to test that, right? So we have to involve various kind of integration tests, which are happening across different technology and platforms. So you have to start from mobile, move to web, to APIs, to backend desktop applications, to your ERPs. That integrated journeys are required to be tested if you really focus on the customer journey testing, right? Independent component testing might not be enough. So that, I mean, we have arrived at a point where we really understand the need of testing across different platform technologies and different kind of testing needs if we are if you have to serve those customer journey from the testing perspective. And that brings us to the point of current state of tool chain, right? So we have to test different technologies like web, mobile, API, backend. We have to test across different phases. So during dev, the focus is on the unit testing, API tests, or component-based functional testing, which could be the in-sprint testing as well. And then during the integration test, the focus is more on the integration tests, regressions, additional testings like visual testing. And then when we go to system test, again, regression, user acceptance, various other, I'm not even including some of the non-functional tests like security, performance, etc. Here I'm focusing more on the functional part of the user journey. And if you look at the tools involved across different phases, so you have different test creation tools, popular names like in the open source, Appium, Selenium, Opkey, Cypress, unit test, XC test, Espresso. All these are falling in the test creation category. Then there are tools which are for test orchestration. So you create those scripts and then you start integrating with maybe CI/CD like Bamboo, Jenkins, and trigger the test from there. And based on the results, the next action is performed. Then you link it with test management tools. It could be Jira, it could be GitLab, GitHub, depending on the organization. There are plethora. This is just a representation of some of the tools that we have listed here. And then finally, you need test infrastructure. So if you need to test a mobile application, you need devices. If you need to test web application, you need browsers. If you're testing some smartwatch application, you need smartwatches, TVs. So you need the whole testing infrastructure as well to be able to kind of effectively use the test creation or test scripts that you have generated. So you see the complex ecosystem of fragmented tool chain that you might be already using, right? So which brings the complexity and takes us to the point where what is the right decision for us, right? Pretty usual ones. There could be decision point where you can look at all-in-one or specific tools, and there are tools which give you all. There are tools which are very niche for a specific purpose. Then you have to take a decision on code, low code, no code tools, open source versus commercial. And there are some new ones, right? Should I use a cloud-based tool or should I still keep some part on-prem because there are some security concerns, there are some regulatory concerns, all that comes into play in the decision-making. But the last one, which is extremely important, and that's what I want to highlight, is test observability. And that brings us to the third concept that I wanted to talk about, which is the third driver as part of the unified ecosystem, the test observability. What exactly is this piece? And I mean, you see a cartoon here. This is taken from a very famous cartoon, Six Economists Changing a Light Bulb. And that kind of gives an intuition what I'm trying to talk about. There are some very simple problems And that requires simple solution, which means we need very clear answers, not many answers, and the answers fast enough. If you need to change a bulb, maybe look at switch or go and find a new bulb itself. And exactly kind of or close enough scenario we see in teams between development and testing. There is a bug in the production and you will get so many answers as to why this bug has happened, right? But we don't need that. We need a very specific answer as to why the bug happened on the production, right? What was the root cause of it? Did we miss the scenario? Or there is something else going on? Is it a configuration problem? There are so many answers that we can have, but we need a very clear, specific, focused answers. And that's exactly what test observability is, right? I mean, that's just one part of test observability, but there are many terms, but one of the definition that I have picked up is listed here. It's our ability to collect, measure, and analyze data from various testing artifacts, which gives us insight into the health and performance of system or applications. Right? So basically making sense of what is happening in the testing side, making sense of the unknowns in a very simple words if we have to define test observability. Right? To take it further, I mean, in terms of some real examples as to what do we mean apart from the definition. And again, it's a very simplified view, not the full view of test observability. There are various segments of tools that we saw, right? Some tools are in the test creation. It could be your automation tools. And each tool generates certain artifacts or matrices on its own. So test creation tools will have various data points on test scripts, execution reports, dashboards. The test infrastructure tool where you're executing your tests will have your execution logs, device logs, testing logs, defects, etc. Right? When you go to test managements, you'll have your user stories, test cases, test scenarios, traceability, linked bugs, etc. Now, just imagine if you are using a very fragmented tool chain, how do you bring all that data together? That's the real question here. How do we bring the data together? So let's say if your organization needs that data in terms of what is the real root cause of a production bug, how quickly can you give that answer? Or if the organization needs an answer on what are the areas within your product which are failing most, which are the test scenarios which are failing the most, or what is the trend on the test execution time over the last test build? Is it increasing? It is decreasing? How do you give those answers? And that's where test observability comes into play. So there are two ways. One is, of course, it's easier if all that data is at one single place. You can build the dashboard reports very easily. Alternatively, if you choose to use different tool sets, you will have to build your own wrappers using maybe frameworks like LangChain, where you bring all that data together and you can query and find those answers. But the point is, we have to look at test observability seriously in today's time because of the complexity of the applications or the customer journeys that we saw. Because the answers are not simple. If there is a problem, if there are some unknowns, the answers are complex. And until we really think about how do we start looking at those unknowns, we'll not be able to build an observable system. So point is that observability is extremely important, and that kind of ends the third concept. And when we bring all the three concepts together, the need of a unified testing ecosystem starts emerging, right? So you have a very complex app ecosystem, which requires a lot of answers very quickly, where the testing is very complicated because of the fragmentation of platforms, technologies. So you end up using a very fragmented tool chain, and then you end up losing your test observability, right? So if we have a unified ecosystem, either through one tool set, or you create some layer on top of your existing fragmented tool chain to bring this unification into place. You will struggle. If you don't do that, you will struggle, right? So there is a need of unified ecosystem which brings all three together to be able to test complex app ecosystem across different platforms and technologies, and still be able to create a observable testing, right? That's the whole purpose of creating a unified app ecosystem. And what we have been doing, I just wanted to give you a sneak peek of where we are moving. So initially, I introduced pCloudy as the web and mobile application testing tool, more from the test infrastructure perspective. So we have 5,000 plus combination of devices and browsers, which you can use using any tool. So if you have a Selenium or Appium script for your test creation, you can use those scripts to run it on pCloudy, right? Or if you're using some commercial tool like Catalan, you can still use pCloudy to run your script. Opkey, you can run with pCloudy. And then pCloudy execution artifact can be extracted and imported back to your test management tools, etc., because we have default integrations with those tools. But we have been seeing this change in the trend, and we have been building something very new, which I wanted to show you as a sneak peek. The real trailer will come out in some days from now. But the whole objective is to bring this unification to our customers and give them an experience where they are able to test some of the complex journeys that we just spoke in the beginning of this presentation. So what you see here are unification of test management. So you have a test management engine in place within the system itself. So you can create your user stories, you can link those user stories to test cases, test scenarios, right from this interface. Then we have a full stack of test development, low-code test creation for any kind of platform, web, mobile, desktop APIs, backend ERP systems, etc. It also has a test data generation. So if you need combination of data, you can use it. And very easy test maintenance using the self-healing technologies in place. And then the third piece comes in play is the test orchestration and test execution, where the whole cloud of devices, browsers are at one single place. You create your script here, run on the cloud, link it with test management, all unified at one single place. And I'm really excited to share this to all of you. And I really invite you to come and be part of the initial launch and try the platform and give us the feedback. So we'll very soon come up with a launch date and invite all of you. I would love to hear your feedback on this. So with that sneak peek, I don't want to delve into too much detail, and unfortunately, I'll not be able to answer much on specifics of it. We just want to keep it like a sneak peek for the time being until we launch the full trailer and get into the next phase of it. Finally, coming to the conclusion part of it, as I have been kind of highlighting, we are looking at future as a unified test ecosystem, which means testing teams will have to test the complete customer journeys. There'll be no more siloed testing teams only for mobile or web or APIs. The testing teams will have to learn to test the complex journeys, which means you can't afford a fragmented tool chain. You need to learn either learn different tools or look at unified testing platforms, right? You also need to focus on faster test execution. You can't afford to increase your execution time. So that's where another point that we need unified ecosystem, that you are able to do faster execution. And like I've been saying, quicker insights on testing status. And for that, you need test observability. Again, that can happen in a unified ecosystem. And this makes the decision making really fast, agile for the organizations. So with that thought, I will close the session from my side. I really hope that you all are looking forward to become the early adopter of this unified test ecosystem approach. If you're already using such approach, I would love to hear more on that. But that's where the world is moving, is our belief, is our hypothesis. And we would be more than keen to see you participate in that. Thank you so much. We'll be more than happy to take up some questions from your side, and we'll be happy to answer that. So feel free to put your questions in the Q&A chat box, and it will appear. We'll be able to take the questions. So there's a question. How much training and education is required for teams when transitioning to a unified testing ecosystem? It depends on what is the current state of your testing, either tool chain or the testing approach. However, the testing ecosystem that we have built is designed for users who are functional experts. So you don't need a very high technical expertise to learn and use that ecosystem. And it's the test creation approach, test execution approach is all low code. So learning the tool is very easy. In that sense, I don't see of any challenge adopting the unified approach. However, if you are using some existing tool sets, the migration definitely can take some bit of time, and it can be done in phases. So truly depends on what is the current state. Of course, we can talk more one-on-one on where do you stand, and how do we help there. But it varies from organization to organization. But in terms of adoption of the system, it has been designed in a way to adopt it very quickly with very minimal learning. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, another question is around the challenges of fragmented tool chain. I mean, we discussed that during the presentation. As I said, right, more and more we are seeing applications moving from one interface to other. So you are not limited to, let's say, testing only your web application. You need, I mean, the faster you move towards integrated tests, you will be able to give much better value to your testing effort. And in that sense, a lot of existing tools fall short. You start from web, you have to move to mobile channel, very difficult to do with a platform like maybe Selenium or Appium, very focused on one single platform. So integration tests fall short with those fragmented tool chains. And then you miss the real benefit of your the regression tests through automated way. There are other kind of testing, again, which is missing in this fragmented toolchain approach, is something like visual test. Now, if you have to do a visual test, you again have to look at a very specialized tools. Why can't you just integrate your visual test on your existing tool sets itself by adding a plugin? And that's where a tool like us comes into play. It will increase the testing breadth for you within the unified ecosystem itself. So there are a lot of advantages which organizations can get by adopting an approach like this. Another question on could you elaborate on how pCloud's unified platforms handle test data management when dealing with simultaneous testing across web and mobile? Yes, so that's one of the differentiator, I would say. The test management is not linked to a specific test script. You can create your test data independently and then link it with your test cases. So it could be your web test, it could be your mobile test, or within a single test, you can start from web, move to mobile, to API, to some desktop calls, to some backend database calls. And one single data sheet that we call can be linked to the test case, right? So it's extremely seamless. Once we are able to kind of get into the detailed demo of it, we'll be able to show you. But a very relevant point, and it's already handled with the platform that we have created here. Great question as well. So with that, I think if there are any more questions, feel free to drop in. We'll be sharing the videos. You can respond one-on-one on the emails. And as I said, if you are willing to participate, we'll send you invite only links to the launch of the platform. So you'll be the first one to get to access the platform and see it for yourself. One more question came while I was talking. Any tips to get our management on board to no-code testing? Absolutely. We have a huge, full white paper and business case for you to look at no-code testing. If you can just drop in your email ID, we'll be able to share that with you. And also, we can plan a session with you one-on-one to kind of talk more about it. But it has huge advantages in terms of efficiency, in terms of low maintenance, which is one of the biggest problem with respect to automation, right? And third one is definitely finding out the right tech talent, which is required. And if you're looking at different platforms, then each platform has its own learning curve. So if you go to a no-code testing, you have one single learning curve for all kind of platforms. So there are multiple benefits. However, as I said, all those are available in form of a white paper that we have. We'll be more than happy to share that. Thank you so much for asking this question. And in fact, we'll share this with all the attendees. The white paper we'll share that with all the attendees. It'll be good to good information for everyone. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for your patience and attending this call. Really nice to have you all here. And also nice to hear some of your questions, feedbacks. Hope to hear more from you. Thank you so much and have a good day, good night. We'll see you soon. We'll meet you and talk to you soon. Thank you so much.